Coming to the SAP, you have two kinds of procurements. All the time you have to work on these two procurement types only. First one is direct procurement and another one is indirect procurement. Being a SAP MM consultant, one has to deal with these two kinds of procurements only. Direct procurement is nothing but wherein which a material number is involved, which means the procurement happens directly with reference to a material number. That is why here the procurement uh, policy is a bit straightforward. One has a material number as a reference. Whereas in indirect procurement, the procurement always happens either with without a material number. Means here directly the posting happens with respect to some kind of general ledger accounts into which the procurement is going on, or you have some similar kind of procurements like non-stock items or non-valuated items or some consumables. These do not affect directly to inventory. That is why these are also considered as some kind of indirect procurement, or these material procurements also fall into indirect procurement type. So being a MM consultant, we always will configure these two things. Again, in direct procurement, we have different kind of procurement scenarios, just like standard procurement process. Another one is subcontracting. Another one is consignment. And we have something called outline agreements, which again comes into two types. First one, contract, and another one, scheduling agreement. These so far will come into MM scenario only, where in which always the configurations completely done by MM consultants only. Whereas there are few more procurement scenarios where in which we have to integrate with other consultants, just like SD, where in which the procurement processes will be called as third party procurement. Stock transport order. In stock transport order, again, you have two types. Intra company, which means here stock transport order is procurement happens between two plants. So far till this point, there will be a vendor which involves in the procurement process, which means company will order something and supplier or vendor will send the material as per the requirement or as per the quantity determined in purchase order. Whereas in STO, you have a procurement process that will be handled between two plants, where in which one plant order some material to another plant. So one of the two plants will become a vendor and another one becomes a customer. So if both the plants come under same company code, then it will be called as intra-company stock transport order. If both the plants come into different company codes, say for example, plant 1000 come into 1000 company code and plant 2000 comes under 2000 company code, then it will become intercompany stock transport order. The reason these two come up or these two are framed this way is depending upon the company code, there will be a difference in general ledger accounts that you will come to know very soon in this session. So these are the main different procurement scenarios which will come under direct procurement. Other than this, there is one more thing called service procurement, which more or less comes between direct or indirect. Okay. So now almost the entire procurement scenario will be handled with similar kind of steps, but there will be very a few plus or minus transactions that needs to be executed. Say for example, in a standard procurement process, where in which, as I explained, this comes under direct procurement, where a material number is mandatory. So now the prerequisite is material number, vendor number. Vendor. Vendor is the one who is going to supply this material. So hence these two become a prerequisite with which you have to create a purchase info record, or business must create a purchase info record. With reference to this purchase info record, during the time of creating the purchase order, price will be picked up. Whichever be the price maintained in the info record, that will come up automatically. If there is no info record, then system will take the price from material master. So now once a purchase order has been created, goods receipt will be done. This will happen only when vendor send the material to the company premises. So once goods receipt is done, with respect to 101 movement type, which is SAP given standard, and in all the cases this will remain the same. So once goods receipt is done, depending upon the amount of material vendor has sent to company premises, for that much of quantity an invoice receipt will be posted. So now stock check will happen both before and after goods receipt, both before and after invoice receipt. This is a precautionary step. Anyhow, this is not mandatory. Invoice payment. Once invoice receipt is done, with reference to this invoice document, a invoice posting will happen. This is the standard procurement scenario. More or less, the same number of steps remains the same, except there are few little bit of changes for the rest of all the processes. I will show you now. If we go to subcontracting process, again, as I said, material number is mandatory because it is a direct procurement. So vendor number is mandatory. Here also we will create an info record, but this will be a subcontracting info record. Here also we have to create a purchase order, except the item category, which will define hello.
Yeah, hello.
And there is a power cut, which is the reason why there is a bit of disturbance. So here also the item category is a mandatory step wherein which the item category is L, which will give the system a hint that one is following a subcontracting process. So now instead of directly doing the goods receipt, one has to do a 101 movement type, just like a standard procurement process, except here, first of all, the material should be sent to a subcontractor. Subcontracting process is nothing but in pharmaceutical companies or in some other chemical industries, uh, business will have those chemicals, and in order to prepare the final product, they will send those chemicals or medicines to a subcontractor who has the equipment to prepare the final end product. That is the purpose of subcontracting scenario. So now, once a purchase order has been raised, so whichever be the components needed to prepare the end product, those will be sent first using 541 movement type to a subcontractor. Then once the materials are sent, then they will do goods receipt. Business will do goods receipt. So more or less this is a bit identical to standard process, except the components will be sent to subcontractor. This is an extra step that has been added. So this is subcontracting scenario. Now if we come to consignment, here also material and vendor, which are the standard prerequisites needed. And again here also an info record is needed, except this will be an consignment info record. Again there is a purchase order where item category K will define the system that here business is following consignment steps. Here directly business will get the goods or material from vendor, but still here the liability or ownership of the materials sent will still lie in the hand of vendor only. If you are working in some industrial sector where few of you are already working, you may see that there is a godown where some part of the godown has been filled with a material which is not company's ownership. The materials ownership will lie in the hands of some other vendor. Business can't utilize that with the freedom wherein which it is already utilizing other materials. So whenever they are using those materials, they have to update the number of quantity of the materials that has been consumed to the vendor. So that vendor will send a settlement document. So those consumptions will happen using transfer posting. Once that is done, then only settlement will be done. Settlement will be done according to the number of components that has been consumed from those consignment stock. So this is consignment process. Here also 101 movement type is involved, using which a goods receipt is done, except one more step come into picture. So everything, the foundation lies in here. If you understand well the standard procurement process, you can easily understand the subcontracting, consignment, and all the other procurement scenarios. So now, when coming to the point of discussing contract and scheduling agreements, contract is nothing but for a certain material due to rapid production activities, there is a very frequent need of a material where you can say there is a monthly consumption of around 500 quantity or some 1000 pieces, where business has to procure it continuously for a term of 1 year or 2 years. Then instead of raising a purchase order frequently or monthly basis, what business will do? Business will ask the vendor if there is any chance. to provide that material at a lower cost, as they are giving the business to the vendor for a long term, say 1 year or 2 years. Then vendor and business come to a common agreement where supplier will send it with a bit lesser cost, say some 5 euros lesser or 2 euros lesser. But when you look at the overall procurement at the end of the 2 years, that per 2 euros decrement in cost will give a lot of benefit to business. Then comes the concept called contract and scheduling agreement. Once you create a contract, every time using this contract, business has to create a purchase order. That is the, you can say, usage or the purpose of contract. Whereas scheduling agreement, this will be used, or this will come into picture only when there is a precise details, just like at which date and how much quantity is needed for that date. Once business have those two things, then only scheduling agreement comes into picture. Just like in our routine example, we use it to get into a scheduling agreement with our milk vendors, where on a daily basis, around in the morning 7 o'clock or 6 o'clock, milk vendor will drop 2 packets at our doorstep. That will happen entire 30 days or entire 31 days in a month. That is a best example we can consider for scheduling agreement. Here, a scheduling agreement is created and scheduling lines also need to be provided. Means the date and the quantity of the material needed for that date.
Sir, your voice is not audible, sir. Hello? 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 Hello?
Hello, you can hear me now, right?
Yes, sir. Now hearing, sir.
So still how long you are not able to hear me? From
I
where
think
exactly?
3 minutes not hearing, sir.
So did I cover the PPT at least?
PPT covered, sir. After last PPT, third party process, now it is not audible, sir.
Okay, no. So the third party process, like I have explained, right? So usually customer will come up with a list of materials wherein which those materials will not be readily available at business premises or plant premises. Business will procure it from a supplier at a bit lesser cost and sell it to customer to get or to earn some profits. This is third party process. So more or less these are the different processes we are going to cover as a part of our course curriculum. Okay, these processes will be handled in batches. So these three are the industrial sectors. Like we have some chemical client, just like pharma clients like Bion Pharma, Intas Pharmaceuticals, Novartis Pharmaceuticals, or some food industries like Cargill INC, Lay's. Okay, these industrial sectors where they will handle materials in batches, because for every batch, once after production happens, what will happen is they have an expiration date. Those materials no longer can be used after that expiration date is over. So that is where exactly the batch scenario comes into picture. Okay, whereas there are some costly materials which business will handle. Because of that reason, business will keep a track on those materials. Eventually, uh, on monthly basis or on quarterly basis, business will count the stock or measure the stock in inventory. That is where physical inventory comes into picture. Okay. So as a part of course curriculum, what we are going to discuss is, apart from organization structure, as we are going to see stock transport scenarios and third party scenarios where we integrate with sales or SD module, we'll get a chance to see those SD specific configuration settings as well. Okay, that is from enterprise structure standpoint. Whereas from materials or master data standpoint, we will see different configuration settings, transactions for material data, vendor master data, source list, info record, bill of materials for subcontracting, all those master data relevant configuration settings and transactions we'll discuss. From purchasing or transactional data standpoint, we will cover different document types. Purchase requisition, which is an internal document type. Usually you use it to listen something called indents. which is a part of internal terminology in industries or factories. That is something, a requirement come up from a department to purchase department. Purchase department consider that request, which is nothing but purchase requisition, and they will convert it to purchase order, which will be sent to a supplier. So we are going to see all the configuration settings, and let me tell you, all these configuration settings remain the same both in ECC and S4HANA. There are no changes except for these two. I will come to that point. So document type configuration settings, release procedure, both with and without classification, pricing procedure, where we mostly deal with freight conditions. Likewise, external service procurement, as I explained, we will see different kind of service procurement scenarios. Framework order or a service procurement, wherein which with service master record and without service master record, we can do service procurements. Automatic PO, purchase order scenarios, or automatic PO during the time of GR, goods receipt. Likewise, we will cover all the inventory related transactions, where we are going to discuss different goods receipt scenarios or different ways to do goods issue, transfer posting. As a part of implementation projects, one should be aware of stock entry balances and movement types. Those things we will cover up. Likewise, as I said, these special procurement scenarios and physical inventory. Above all can be handled in batches. That is where batch management scenario comes into picture. Now, being a consultant, there are certain things which going forward in a company, once you join a project, your managers or leads will expect you to set up few things called split valuation or moment type configuration settings, which is nothing but valuation and account determination. That we'll discuss in brief, and I will share the documents as well. And coming to the invoice, it is not just a invoice. There may be few real-time scenarios where once here invoice process is done, there may rise few issues that one has to return the stock back to the supplier, as business lately recognized that some of the materials are damaged or the quality is not passed. Then how to reverse the invoice? That is exactly where the credit memo, subsequent credit or debit comes into picture. Blocking an invoice, releasing the blocked invoices will come as a part of few more real-time scenarios that I am going to explain. Likewise, not every time a straight invoice transaction will get executed and invoice is settled. Other than that, we may have few more transactions which will help us to do automatic settlements. So that comes a different topic that we'll cover. So as a part of the invoice concepts which I have explained, that entirely comes into FI integrations, or we can say configuring few general ledger accounts using OBYC transaction. So this we will see as a separate topic, and I will explain in brief how this can be handled. Like, since WM is a module which will start exactly where the module is completed, which means once goods receipt is done, that is where exactly module will get stopped or completed. That is exactly where the WM module will start. So as a part of basics, like what the WM uh, will integrate with MM and at which point WM integrate with MM. For that purpose, I can give a integration knowledge, MM integration with WM. Likewise, I will share these Excel sheets once we gone through some of the topics, at least master data topic is covered. Then I will share this Excel sheet wherein which you will get a list of T codes which you are going to use it going forward. Likewise, you need to know the list of tables. Okay. Likewise, the material types and their valuation classes. Different movement types which will help you to understand inventory management easily, and the different procurement processes, and which are all the movement types and posting keys that will come into picture. This will be shared with you. So now coming to the S/4HANA concept. Most of the configuration settings which we discussed above will remain the same, except there is a change or innovation in material master field length. In ECC, usually the field length or the material number length will be 18 characters, which means assume a material number starting with 1 followed by 17 zeros. That is the maximum material number that can be configured in ECC. But for certain pharma or chemical industries, instead of internal number range, they want to give an external number range, which means they want to give their own description with a chemical formula. Say for example, cetirizine underscore 50 mg underscore some chemical compositions. Then it will exceed 18 length. So HANA has given the cushion to use up to 40 length. Understood? Likewise, here in S/4HANA, there won't be any concept of vendor. It is always business partner. But again, in order to configure a business partner, you must know how to configure vendor master settings, because this is a mandatory thing to configure a business partner, without which it is impossible to configure business partner related settings. Again, in subcontracting, we will do goods receipt using Migo, and we will submit some of the components to subcontractor. That will be done in a traditional way. HANA has given this transaction. So I will explain you how to use or leverage this transaction as a part of subcontracting process. So now going forward, once you join any implementation project, usually you will use LSMW. You must understand these terminologies. LSMW, which is called Legacy System Migration Workbench, which is a concept that will be used to upload certain master data entities, just like materials, vendors, info records, bill of materials. But in S/4HANA, there won't be any LSMW concept. It will be LTMC, Legacy Transport Migration Cockpit. So now I will explain those things in brief. So BRF is something which will integrate with ABAPers more. Here MM consultant has very less possibility to do something, but at least I can share you the concept. Now in ECC, once a purchase order or purchase requisition is created, we are going to send it to vendor, right? How we are going to send it to vendor? Through a printout. in the format of print format. For that purpose, we will use NACE, transaction in ECC. But when comes to S4HANA, they have given output determination, which is OPD is the transaction. But most of the time, even in S4HANA also, all the clients are using NACE. I will explain why NACE is gaining advantage over OPD as a part of our discussions. So MD transactions are nothing but in order to run MRP, we have MD01, MD02, MD03 transactions in ECC. But now in HANA, there is only one transaction called MD01N. All the remaining transactions are obsolete. So this is the course curriculum which we are going to follow. Apart from this, I will stop here on and you can ask any of your doubts. In whichever be the language, no issues. You can ask the doubt in a comfortable language, but I will explain you in both the languages. If you want me to speak in Telugu, I will explain it in Telugu followed by English. For few people, who is that? Is that Vasant Kumar, who is from Bangalore, right? Vasant, am I audible? Hello. Hello, anyone? Am I audible?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, Vasant. So Vasant, Varun, Srivatsa. Now I am stopping here on. So this is the course curriculum. I will share it with Subbu. Subbu will share it with you. If you have any queries or related to any topics, you wanted to know anything, you are open to ask. ఏ డౌట్ ఉన్నా ఏ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఉన్నా అడగచ్చు. Clarify here itself. So, did you understand the PPT, the procurement scenarios which I have explained now clearly? Because going forward also I'll expect every one of you to communicate with me, because otherwise I don't understand whether you are able to get me or not. It should not be like that I have completed the course and you get very less. Right. So besides, I will share the documents. Once every time we complete the class, I will share the decks or documents. Likewise, there will be few advanced topics. Scheduling agreement with MRP, STO, third party vendor invoices, free goods, etc. Okay. Any queries, feel free to ask, clarify it. Not only now, going forward also. Once a class has been taken and completed, I'll give some 5 to 10 minutes of time. Clarify it. If needed, I will stretch it and clarify all your doubts. If you don't speak up, I'll assume that everything is fine and I'll go to the next topic. That is a problem for you. And I can assure you, I can communicate in all the 3 languages. मैं हिंदी में भी बात कर सकता हूँ. If you are uncomfortable with Telugu or English, हिंदी में भी बात कर सकते हैं।
హలో సార్
हाँ,
చెప్పండి.
who is this?
సుబ్బు
Hey, Subbu. So I am done with my PPT. Then అయిపోయింది. But I did.
వరుణ్,
సార్
మీకేమైనా డౌట్లు ఉంటే అడగండి అబ్బా.
ఒకటే అండి సార్.
ఓకే, శ్రీవత్స, వరుణ్, వసంత్ కుమార్,
All clear?
హలో
టెల్ మీ.
సార్, నేను శ్రీవత్సాని.
हाँ हाँ हाँ.
సార్,
Go ahead.
నాకు నెట్వర్క్ ఇష్యూస్ వల్ల నేను మధ్యలో ఒక 2-3 మినిట్స్ మిస్ అయ్యాను సార్. అంటే కంటిన్యూస్ గా కాదు, మధ్య మధ్యలో కొంచెం మిస్ అయ్యాను. ఓకే, ఈరోజు క్లాస్ అయితే నాకు అర్థమైంది కొంచెం.
నేను రికార్డింగ్ ఇస్తానులే శ్రీవత్స.
ఓకే సార్. అయితే
ఓకే.
అంటే మళ్ళీ
Course-
నెక్స్ట్ క్లాస్ స్టార్ట్ చేసినప్పుడు దీని గురించి కొంచెం ఓవర్ వ్యూ, అంటే జస్ట్ రీక్యాప్ లాగా ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తే సో దట్ వీ కెన్ అండర్స్టాండ్.
స్టార్టింగ్ 3 days మీకు ఇంట్రడక్షన్ ఉంటుంది, దాని గురించి ఏం ప్రాబ్లం లేదు.
ఓకే
మనం
సార్.
డైరెక్ట్ గా SAP లోకి వెళ్ళిపోం ఫస్ట్. దేనికంటే
Okay.
మీరు ఈ సర్వర్ తీసుకోవాలి. అట్లీస్ట్ లాగిన్ లాగ్ ఆఫ్ కి హ్యాండ్స్ ఆన్ ఉండాలి. ఒక యూజర్ క్రెడెన్షియల్స్ ఉండాలి కదా మీకైనా. సో టిల్ దట్
అవును.
పాయింట్ SAP MM అంటే ఏంటి, మనం ఏ హ్యాండిల్ చేస్తాం SAP MM లో కన్సల్టెంట్స్ గా, అది ఎక్స్ప్లెయిన్ చేస్తాం. దాని
Okay, sir.
గురించి మనకి సెషన్స్ ఉంటాయి. 1 or 2 days.
ఓకే.
ఫస్ట్ డే థియరిటికల్ సెషనే ఉంటుంది.
ఓకే సార్.
ఓకే, బట్ మై సజెషన్ టు ఆల్ యూ 3, ప్రతిసారి క్లాస్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఆ క్లాస్ రిలేటెడ్ ఏమైనా డౌట్స్ ఉంటే అది క్లారిఫై చేసుకోండి. దేనికి ఫర్దర్ టాపిక్స్కి వెళ్ళిపోయిన తర్వాత స్టిల్ మీరు ఇంకా టాపిక్స్ మీద క్లారిఫికేషన్ లేకపోతే నో వన్ కెన్ హెల్ప్. నేను డాక్యుమెంట్స్ అయితే షేర్ చేస్తా, బట్ వితౌట్ క్లారిఫైయింగ్ దెమ్ యూ కాంట్ ప్రాక్టీస్ ఫర్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ. ఓకే, వన్స్ క్లాసెస్ అయిపోయిన తర్వాత ఐ విల్ షేర్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్వశ్చనర్స్ యాజ్ వెల్, సో దట్ యూ కెన్ క్రాక్ ది ఇంటర్వ్యూస్. మోస్ట్ కామన్లీ ఆస్క్డ్ ఇంటర్వ్యూ క్వశ్చన్స్ ఏవైతే ఉంటాయో డాక్యుమెంట్ షేర్ చేస్తాను, అండ్ ఐ కెన్ గివ్ ఏ సెషన్ ఆన్ దట్. So if nothing else, can we wrap up, Subbu? Okay, then close చేద్దామా?
ఓకే సార్.
Right then. Good night all. సో సుబ్బుతో మీరు డిస్కస్ చేయండి క్లాసెస్ ఎప్పటి నుంచి స్టార్ట్ చేయాలి ఏంటి అన్నది. అకార్డింగ్లీ విల్ స్టార్ట్. రైట్.
ఓకే.
బై ఆల్. గుడ్ నైట్.
గుడ్ నైట్.